February doesn't look like gardening season, but this is the month that quietly decides who gets early harvests and who ends up waiting. While most gardens still look asleep, smart gardeners are already sowing the seeds that need time, warmth, and patience. Miss this window, and no amount of spring sunshine will fully make up for it. Get it right, and you're weeks ahead before the season even starts. Welcome to Timeless Harvest. If you want stronger plants, earlier crops, and a garden that works with the calendar instead of against it, you're in the right place. Before we get started, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, because timing can look very different depending on your climate. And if you enjoy practical, seasoned smart gardening that actually pays off, hit subscribe and stay with me, because what you do this month sets the tone for your entire growing year. Let's get straight into it. Seed number 1. Tomatoes. Tomatoes sit at the top of the February sowing list for one simple reason. They need time, and a lot of it. From the moment that seed cracks open, the clock is ticking towards summer. Most tomato varieties need at least 6 to 8 weeks indoors before they're strong enough to move outside, and larger, slower growing types need even longer. Starting in February isn't about being early for the sake of it, it's about giving the plant a full, unhurried life cycle. Gardeners who wait until March often end up with plants that look fine, but never quite catch up, producing later and less consistently. February sown tomatoes develop thicker stems, deeper roots, and better resilience once they hit real sunlight and outdoor conditions. Cherry varieties like Sungold or Honeycomb reward early starters with fruit weeks ahead of schedule, while beefsteaks such as Brandywine or Costoluto Fiorentino rely on this head start to fully mature before the season runs out. Sow the seeds lightly, keep them warm, and give them strong light as soon as they emerge. This is where the season truly begins, because a well-started tomato plant doesn't just grow faster, it produces better all summer long. Seed number 2. Peppers and chilies. Peppers and chilies are the definition of slow and steady, and that's exactly why February matters so much for them. These plants take their time at every stage, from germination to flowering to fruiting. Sweet peppers already need a long season, but hot and super hot varieties stretch that timeline even further. If you delay sowing, the plants spend summer trying to catch up instead of producing. Starting now gives them the extended warm growth they need to reach full size and deliver a meaningful harvest. Early sown peppers build stronger root systems and sturdier stems, which makes them far more productive once temperatures rise. They thrive with consistent warmth, and bottom heat can make the difference between fast, even germination and weeks of frustration. Keep them in a bright, warm spot, resist the urge to rush them outdoors, and let them grow at their own pace. A pepper plant started in February doesn't just survive the season, it dominates it, producing earlier, longer, and far more reliably than late-started plants. Seed number 3. Aubergines eggplants. Aubergines are one of those crops that quietly expose impatience. They don't rush, they don't forgive shortcuts, and they absolutely punish late sowing. February is the month that gives them the breathing room they need. From seed to harvest, aubergines can take close to 6 months under average conditions, and in cooler or unpredictable climates, that margin disappears fast. If they aren't well established early, they may flower late, produce sparsely, or fail to mature properly before the season ends. Starting aubergines in February allows them to build strong roots and thick stems long before outdoor conditions are suitable. They demand consistent warmth to germinate and grow steadily, often more than peppers, and they dislike being disturbed once settled. Sowing into individual containers helps avoid setbacks later on. Given enough time, warmth, and light, these plants reward patience with glossy fruit and continuous harvests. But without that early start, aubergines spend the season struggling to catch up instead of doing what they're meant to do, which is produce. Seed number 4. Brassicas. Brassicas are often misunderstood because they grow best when conditions are cool, not warm. February sowing is less about rushing and more about control. Crops like broccoli, cauliflower, and kale need time to establish strong root systems before spring temperatures start to climb. If they're started too late, they hit warmth too quickly and respond by bolting, producing loose heads, or failing altogether. An early start lets them grow steadily while the weather is still on their side. By sowing brassicas in February, you create plants that are ready to move outdoors early, long before pests and heat become major problems. These seedlings are tougher than they look and can tolerate cooler conditions once hardened off. Broccoli and cauliflower form tighter, more reliable heads when they mature in mild weather, and kale develops better flavor and structure when it grows without stress. This timing isn't about pushing growth, it's about aligning the plant's natural rhythm with the season so it can perform at its best. Seed number 5. Onions and leeks. Onions and leeks are classic long-game crops, and February is where that game begins. These plants don't grow fast, but they grow steadily, and every extra week they get early in the season directly translates into size and quality at harvest. If you start them late, they still grow, but they never quite reach their full potential. February sowing gives them time to develop strong root systems and plenty of leaf growth before daylight and warmth really kick in. Leeks in particular benefit from this early start, producing thicker, longer stems by late summer and autumn. Onions need that same extended timeline to size up properly before the days begin to shorten again. They tolerate cooler conditions far better than tender crops, so they don't need much pampering once established. Start them thinly, grow them steadily, and resist the urge to rush. With onions and leeks, patience from February onward is what separates average harvests from truly impressive ones. Seed number 6. Peas and broad beans. Peas and broad beans are perfectly suited to an early start because they thrive in cool conditions and struggle once heat arrives. Sowing them in February, especially toward the end of the month, allows these plants to establish before temperatures begin to rise. This early timing means stronger growth, earlier flowering, and harvests that arrive before summer stress sets in. Gardeners who wait too long often watch their plants flower poorly or fade just as they should be producing. Starting peas and broad beans early also helps avoid many common problems. Cool weather slows down pests, supports steady growth, and improves flavor. These crops can be sown outdoors in mild climates or started in containers and transplanted once conditions allow. Given proper support and space, early sown plants climb confidently, flower abundantly, and deliver generous harvests when other parts of the garden are still catching up. Seed number 7. Spinach and salad greens. Spinach and salad greens are at their best when they grow slowly in cool weather, which makes February an ideal time to start them. These crops are incredibly sensitive to heat, and once temperatures rise too quickly, they respond by bolting, turning bitter, or shutting down altogether. By sowing early, you give them the chance to establish while conditions are still mild, producing tender leaves with far better texture and flavor than anything grown in warmer months. An early start also stretches your harvest window. February sown greens can be cut repeatedly using a cut-and-come-again approach, providing fresh leaves for weeks before most gardens are even fully planted. Spinach, lettuce, and similar greens tolerate light frost and bounce back easily, making them dependable early-season producers. Whether grown under cover, indoors, or outdoors in protected spots, these crops reward early sowing with abundance and reliability when the rest of the garden is still waking up. Seed number 8. Sweet peas. Sweet peas are one of those plants that truly reward an early start. February sowing gives them the cool, consistent conditions they thrive in, allowing seedlings to develop strong roots and sturdy stems before warmer weather arrives. If you wait too long, they struggle to establish, and flowering is delayed, shortening their already precious bloom season. Starting now sets the stage for longer, more abundant displays of vibrant, fragrant flowers. These hardy annuals are easy to grow, but appreciate a little foresight. Sow them in deep pots or biodegradable tubes to protect their delicate roots and provide enough light to prevent leggy growth. Early sowing also allows them to be hardened off and planted out confidently once frost risk has passed. By giving sweet peas this head start in February, you ensure plants that climb vigorously, flower generously, and keep your garden filled with color and fragrance throughout spring and summer. Seed number 9. Cosmos and early flowers. Cosmos and other early flowering plants are all about bringing long-lasting color, structure, and life to your garden, and February is the perfect time to get them started. Sowing now gives these plants a head start, allowing roots to establish, stems to strengthen, and flowers to develop steadily. Early sowing translates into taller, bushier plants with more abundant blooms that last well into summer. Whether it's cosmos, snapdragons, salvias, or marigolds, starting them in February ensures a longer flowering period and stronger, healthier plants compared to seeds sown later in spring. These early flowers don't just beautify your garden, they support pollinators and beneficial insects, creating a thriving ecosystem before other crops even get going. Starting flowers this early also allows you to control their growing conditions carefully. Sow seeds on the surface of your compost or seed mix to give them the light they need to germinate, keep them in a warm, bright spot, and monitor moisture to avoid drying out or damping off. Once seedlings are large enough, prick them out into individual pots so roots aren't crowded, and gradually harden them off before planting outdoors after the last frost. By giving cosmos and early flowers this head start, you're setting up a season filled with vibrant colors, consistent blooms, and plants that are strong enough to handle outdoor conditions without stress, giving your garden a stunning early season advantage. Seed number 10. Celeriac and celery. Celeriac and celery are famously slow, demanding, and utterly unforgiving to late starts. February sowing is the secret to success. These crops require consistent warmth to germinate, steady light to develop strong, upright stems, and patience above all else. If you delay sowing even a few weeks, you risk weak seedlings, delayed harvests, or small underdeveloped roots and stalks that never reach their full potential. February gives these plants the long runway they need to establish properly, ensuring that by the time outdoor temperatures are suitable, they're ready to thrive instead of struggling to catch up. Starting celery and celeriac now also allows you to manage their environment carefully. Sow seeds in individual pots or modules to avoid disturbing roots, maintain a constant 70 to 75 degrees for germination, and provide bright light to prevent legginess. Water consistently but carefully, keeping soil moist without overwatering, and protect seedlings from drafts and sudden temperature drops. This careful early management translates directly into healthier plants, bigger stalks, and more robust roots come harvest time. Celeriac and celery may test your patience, but a February start ensures that when the season reaches its peak, these crops reward you with full, flavorful, and visually impressive results that late-started plants simply can't match. And there you have it. The 10 seeds smart gardeners start in February to stay ahead of the season. From tomatoes and peppers to brassicas, peas, leafy greens, and beautiful flowers, each of these crops benefits enormously from an early start. February is more than just a quiet month, it's a strategic window that sets the tone for your entire garden year. The time, care, and planning you invest now pay off in stronger plants, earlier harvests, and more abundant yields. Every seed sown this month is a head start against pests, heat stress, and the unpredictable challenges that can slow your garden later in spring and summer. By sowing carefully, maintaining warmth and light, and giving your seedlings the attention they need, you're building a foundation for success that lasts all season long. Now it's your turn. Take these tips, plan your sowing schedule, and commit to starting these 10 seeds this month. Share in the comments which seeds you're planting and where you're watching from. I'd love to see how gardens differ across climates. Remember, February isn't too early, it's the time to get ahead. Subscribe to Timeless Harvest for more seasonal guidance, practical tips, and high-yield strategies that work for real gardens. When you start now, you're not just planting seeds, you're planting the potential for a thriving, abundant garden that will reward you all season. So grab your trays, your seeds, and your grow lights, and let's get growing.